If you like your punks frosted, your pigs peppered, and your potatoes stolen, weirdly, you're going to love what Xbox Game Pass has in store for you this month. So take a look at what we got lined up for the rest of September, and we'll kick things off with a trio of games that Game Pass standard members can get stuck into from the 17th. And they're going to embark on another tabletop-inspired quest in For the King 2, explore a fantastical world with up to 3 other players, 1 dice roll at a time. Or, if you want to be the one that's wearing the crown, Overthrown lets you build your very own kingdom from scratch. And finally, standard members can add their arsenal of Call of Duty games with the arrival of Modern Warfare 3. Okay, moving on to the games that are actually coming to Game Pass Ultimate and PC with a hey 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 and a ho ho ho, it's off to where we go with a new single-player Deep Rock Galactic game on the 17th. So Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is a Vampire Survivor-style top-down auto-shooter game where one lone dwarf takes on a horde of alien enemies. Fight for your life and try to grab a few precious minerals as you go, since they'll allow you to actually unlock all sorts of powerful upgrades and also just stay alive a bit longer. Quite important. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor really makes you feel like a one dwarf army, but if you do find yourself craving the co-op camaraderie of the original, that's also available on Game Pass as well. On the 18th, it's time to give your head a bit of a wobble, and the rest of your body actually, with the wiggly open world adventure, Wobbly Life. Available to Game Pass Standard, Ultimate and PC members, this extremely silly game starts off with your dear old grandma, who is also wobbly, obviously, kicking you out into the whole wide wobbly world so that you can go and get yourself a job. Fortunately, there are loads on offer. You could be a wobbly firefighter, a wobbly taxi driver, or even a wobbly disco dancer. Probably helps for that. On top of all of that, though, there's loads of mini games that you can take part in, and you can do it all with up to 3 other equally wobbly players, either locally or online. Wobbly. Xbox Series X and S gamers and them cloud gamers out there will get to try their hand at Frostpunk 2 from the 18th. This city building survival sim, which has already chilled PC players to the bone, puts the player in charge of one of the last remaining cities in an icy post-apocalyptic world. So if you want your people to survive, you're going to need to strike out and explore the frozen wastelands around you, finding new resources and even setting up new colonies. Back on the home front, you'll need to work quite carefully to keep your city's various factions happy. If you want to stay in control, that is. Or, as happy as people can be when they're freezing cold, literally all of the time. I'm pretty sure when I last played this, there was an option to either save my people or kill some baby seals. So, it's not always going to be roses in this one. Hades makes its grand return to Game Pass on the 19th, with standard members also able to get in on the act as well. And his godlike roguelike puts players in the sandals of Prince Zagreus, who's had quite enough of the underworld and all its blood rivers and just lounging about the place getting tortured all the time. So he's decided to head upstairs and check out the mortal realm. But to get there, he's going to have to go through many monsters, a couple of legendary gladiators, and one very unhappy ex-girlfriend. With its slick combat, brilliant cast of characters, and Moorish gameplay loop, not to mention possibly the best video game soundtrack out there, fight me on that one in the comments, Hades is one of the most acclaimed games of the last few years for a reason. Strategy fans should definitely plan on checking out Endless Legend 2 when it comes to PC Game Pass on September 22nd. This sprawling 4X game drops players into a fragmented fantasy world, so you'll be raising up an army of righteous monsters or cursed knights or hideous monsters, forge alliances or fight for dominance, make just decisions and lead honourably, or, don't. It's your game. However you choose to play, keep an eye on the world around you, because it's always changing. There's receding oceans that create new lands, or populations can boom or fall, and strange anomalies crop up all over the place. King Arthur's back in the co-op roguelike Sworn, only it turns out he's not actually quite a stand-up guy he's made out to be. I mean, who chooses a round table anyway? Clown. To take down Arthur and his nasty knights, you'll be able to call on a huge array of weapons, abilities, and magical blessings, creating a character build that is uniquely yours. Get 3 friends to do likewise, and you're going to have yourself a team that is ready to take down a legend. Sworn comes to Game Pass Ultimate and PC on the 23rd, and it's also Xbox Play Anywhere compatible, so those who buy it can play it on all of their Xbox devices too, including the upcoming Xbox ROG Ally, which we should have some new videos on pretty soon, so make sure you subscribe. Like Mana from Heaven, Visions of Mana arrived last year to end a 20-year wait for a new mainline entry in the iconic action RPG series. And no spoilers, but it was totally worth the wait. Visions of Mana takes players through a vibrant 3D world that is just brimming with monsters to battle and magical things to discover. But better still, you get to do so alongside a bunch of unforgettable characters, each with personalities as colourful and distinctive as their hairstyles. Which does make it extra sad that the story is actually all about sacrificing a bunch of them to the mana tree, but that's a whole other thing. Whether this is your first Mana game, or maybe you've been following the series for decades, you should definitely give Visions of Mana a go when it hits Game Pass on the 25th. You know what, on that note, what is the game series that you've been following the longest? Hit the comments and let me know. If your household contains any young gamers with a penchant for a particular precocious pink piglet, you'll definitely want to get Peppa Pig World Adventures downloaded when it arrives on September 25th. This family-friendly game takes Peppa to Paris, wow, lucky her, and Hollywood, and all the way to Australia, and every new destination just provides a new chance to take on quests, meet some new friends, and score some nice new accessories. And when you do get home, you can actually design your very own house and just use it to store all your souvenirs. Just don't leave them lying all over the house and turn the place into a pigsty, you pig. The Tomb Raider games are all about digging up lost treasures, so it seems only right that we're going to dust off a gem from the Xbox 360 era on the 30th. It's Lara Croft and the Guardian of the Light. And this one is unlike any of Miss Croft's previous tomb raiding expeditions in that it's an isometric fixed camera deal with a big focus on co-op. A second player can join in at any time and play as a Mayan warrior named Totek, who moves pretty well for someone who's about 2,000 years old. Although the whole game can be played solo too, so if you haven't got any mates, no worries. And for all the changes, you'll actually find all the classic Tomb Raider stuff here as well. There's twin pistols, challenging puzzles, and oh so much ancient treasure. A wise Tumblr user once said, "Do not malign potato," and the humble vegetable is finally getting its due on October 7th when Sopa Tale of the Stolen Potato comes straight to Game Pass. This culinary adventure blends the magical realist style of Gabriel Garcia Marquez with the lush animation of Studio Ghibli, and it just cooks it all up into a mesmerizing story about food and family. You can play as a young boy who's helping his grandmother cook when he's suddenly whisked away into a fantastical world, which actually works out pretty nicely because the place is just full of quirky characters, clever puzzles, and absolutely infectious music. And you know what? Game Pass already has some absolute bangers lined up for October, including a certain game that rhymes with Schminger, Schmeiden, Schmor. So make sure you subscribe if you want to hear all about them as well. Bye!